So regarding the eclipse,
Yeah, look at that fidget spinner. It's with the crescents. So we've got this post-it with a hole inside to create a little pinhole camera. I remember I got a good shot before. Yeah, this is a pretty good shot. Like if you look closely, you can see a crescent shape coming out of that hole.
Yeah, check this out. Get a shot of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the holes of the fidget spinner are a little bigger, so then the thing that you see is kind of like a blend between a circle and a crescent. It's like a quirkle.
Quirkle.
Oh, like you know,
Circent.
a circent. Well, I was thinking like squircle is like square plus circle.
Oh yeah.
So we already
true.
have like a common nomenclature. So I know this doesn't work, but I just want to put it in the video. No, I'm looking at the phone screen.
I don't want you to lose your vision because I like when you draw things.
Oh, don't worry. Like, you know, I've looked at the sun for like a split second before, but I instantly look away just like as a reflex.
Yeah, but today I did that and it was like way worse than usual.
Oh, okay. Well, I haven't looked straight at it yet, so we're good.
Don't.
Through the leaves of the tree.
Through the woods.
Oh yeah, through the woods. Well, it's actually not through wood though, it's through whatever leaf material.
Well, bamboo is made out of grass.
I'm trying to get bumps.
The bumps were the other way.
Wait, this way?
Yeah. Well, to the right.
To the right? Oh, I see them now. It's not as extreme anymore.
Well, maybe if you bring your hand closer to the sun.
Oh, there it is. This is a fat hand. Gonna go the other direction. It's like an emaciated hand. But no, I just go like that to go the other direction. I don't have to rotate it.
so regarding the eclipse, I've been dealing with some like personal issues, and I'll just say them. And I want to reiterate that I'm not demanding that you feel sympathy for me or provide me solutions. Again, this is just me self-reflecting. Maybe this is kind of like a vlog because I want to document how I'm feeling emotionally or like how my life is doing, so that like 10 years from now I can look back and say, oh yeah, I remember that. Wow, I've changed so much. So anyway, I'll just get started. As you saw, I watched the eclipse from Southern California, so we did not have totality here. And the reason I'm disappointed is that, okay, I guess I'll just tell you the full story. So I think it starts about like 2 weeks ago. Michael and I decided to see the eclipse, but we couldn't decide if we wanted to go to Oregon or Illinois, because Oregon is technically closer. We decided to fly to Illinois instead to visit a friend. And that was all cool. But then the day before we were scheduled to leave, August 19th, I had a speed cubing competition in Los Angeles, which is near here, from like 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And like that was fine in my eyes because after the competition I had a lot of time to come home and pack to get ready for the flight tomorrow. But then me and a friend went to KCON afterward because, you know, KCON was happening the same day, and it, like, you know, it's a pretty big convention, a lot of cool stuff is going on, so I just decided to go and like listen to a concert, which I don't know if I really enjoyed just because like the music was so loud it was painful for me. But that's a different story. I don't regret going. I'm actually excited that I went to an event that I wouldn't normally go to, you know, to give myself more experiences. But anyway, I got back home at around 10 p.m., which isn't too late. Like, it still gives me enough time to pack and sleep before the flight at 8:30 a.m. tomorrow. Like, we were planning on getting up maybe 6 a.m. so that we could get to the airport by like 7. But here's the part I'm really disappointed with myself with. So for context, I have this other channel called Abacaba. It's for data visualization, and I wanted to make a video showing how quickly YouTube's most viewed videos got views. And each video plays a pitch depending on how quickly it gets views. So the faster it's getting views, the higher the pitch is. I started working on this video about a week ago, August 14th, and that's when I collected the data. So it took me a few days to kind of tinker with the data, write the code to play the sounds, make all the visuals correct. But I realized that every day that I was working on this visualization, the data that I collected was getting more and more out of date. So if I upload it on August 20th, the data only goes up to August 14th, it's already 6 days out of date. And it takes a long time to collect that data because I have to like open up the YouTube video page, open up the statistics tab and go through inspect element and slog through 20 layers of HTML tags. So I kind of knew that the August 14 data that I had was going to be the data that I used. So I was in a situation where it's 10 p.m. at night, August 19. I have a flight tomorrow to go to Illinois and I won't be back in this building until a week and a half later. All the data for my video is on my desktop computer, which is staying in this apartment. So I'm realizing, oh shoot, if I don't finish this video before I leave for the flight tomorrow, it's not gonna get done for another 2 weeks, and by then it'll be almost 3 weeks out of date, and I just wasn't okay with that. So I decided, like, you know, I've pulled all-nighters before, although not that often, so I could do it again, right? Like, it's 10 p.m., maybe I'll finish the video by like 4 a.m., and then like I actually have 2 hours to sleep before the flight and all that. But like I'm working on this video, I'm working, 3 a.m. hits, and I realize this just isn't gonna work. And then Michael comes out of his room and he actually like talks to me about it, and he tells me that he hasn't been able to sleep either because the flight's so early, and he's like, I'll just sleep on the plane anyway. And then I started talking to him, like, how much is this trip really worth it? Because I still hadn't packed, and like the total transportation of the flights and the driving and all that might take a total of like 20 hours because the flight has a bunch of layovers. I think the total length is like 9 hours one way, and I think that like that's a full day and a half of productivity gone just for 2 minutes of watching the moon go in front of the sun. And also like I didn't want to be sleep deprived for the second day in a row because the night before the competition I had to get up early and I couldn't sleep that well, so I got 3 hours of sleep, and I'm like, 2 nights in a row with 3 hours, that's just not very fun. So I just thought, like, wouldn't it be so nice to sleep in, and like I could finish the video literally tomorrow and upload it. And I was just like debating it with Michael, and I decided not to go so that I could have more sleep and finish the video and have an extra day of productivity. So you can actually see I still have the suitcase that I was planning on bringing with me to Illinois. It's still just sitting there. I'm gonna put the clothes away at some point. But then the next day happened and Michael was on the flight, and the day after that is August 21, the day of the eclipse. And like I predicted with myself, I started to feel just terrible regret, like almost unbearable. And like based on patterns of how I've acted in previous situations, I knew this was gonna happen. This is just part of my personality. And maybe I could tell you a few stories from before. Like sophomore year of high school, sophomores aren't supposed to go to prom. Well, like there's no rules, but it's like usually sophomores only go to prom if someone older asks them to go. And this older girl did ask me to go, and I said like, no, I'll think about it, but I don't really want to, just because I think I was like busy with BFDI or something, and I don't really like dancing or really loud music or crowds, so I didn't go. But then a few months later I started thinking back to it, and it's like, it's kind of a badge of honor to be asked as a younger kid to do that, and like for the rest of my life I'm never gonna be able to say, hey look, I got asked when I was super young to go to prom. Like now I realize it does not matter at all, and the only people who care about this stuff are high school students. But at the time I was like, oh, I wish time travel were a thing. I wish I could go back and change my decision, because in the long run, what am I gonna remember? Like, you know, going to prom or making another YouTube video. And this is like strangely parallel to right now, because what am I gonna remember? Seeing the first total solar eclipse of my life, or making another YouTube video? And I think I chose wrong. I was thinking maybe my new motto should be make more memories, not videos. Because I never regret going out and doing something a little more adventurous, even if it takes up 20 hours of transportation or leaves me sleep deprived. I don't remember the inconveniences, I just remember the memory. So like yesterday I was like feeling really bummed out because I was looking at the schedule for next solar eclipses, and I had thought there was another eclipse in 6 months somewhere else on the Earth, but it's actually only partial. and the next total solar eclipse isn't for another 2 years, which doesn't sound long, but I'll be 22 and graduated from college, and when I think about how much happened in the last 2 years, I just think that seems forever away, and I'll be a different person. And the next solar eclipse that like I could realistically see without like moving to a different continent is in 7 years, and I'll be 27. My mind kind of plays weird tricks on me. I realized, like, as much as I like to think that I'm a rational thinking computer, I'm not. And I feel like I have a very obsessive tendencies, like I'll blow everything out of proportion. So like one example of that is like when I'm working on that YouTube view graph video, I will think it's the most important thing in the world, and I have to make sure that all the data is exactly correct, even though no one else cares. But on like another aspect of this obsessiveness is once I start to feel this regret for one event, it'll just blow up and up and up. And then like I reached the point where I was thinking like the value of someone's human life is how many eclipses they've seen. So like I was watching some other random YouTuber and I was thinking to myself, how many eclipses have they seen? None? Well, then they're not as good of a human. And like, why? Why do I do that? Because like a month ago, I did not even care that we had an eclipse. And also like there were eclipses in like 2012, which wasn't really that long ago, but I'm thinking as a 15-year-old, maybe I didn't check the news as often, but I don't even remember knowing that there was an eclipse. So this is a very recent behavior that I've had where I guess at the core of it, it's FOMO, fear of missing out. But when I hear like college students talking about FOMO and like not going to parties or like lectures, I don't care about that. Like I don't feel any FOMO for that, and I almost like look down on other students who feel it, because it's kind of like I took pride in the fact that even though I was in my room all the time not doing those events, I was making something productive. So I was like, you feel FOMO for doing something that doesn't actually create anything for humanity, you're having very irrational thoughts. But for some reason, this eclipse, just because it's like once in a lifetime and hasn't happened in North America since 1978 or something, that changes everything for me. Like the length of time makes the event feel so much rarer and more valuable. So suddenly the feelings that I admonished for all my classmates, I'm feeling in myself probably more strongly than they do, just because the fact that I'm like saying I value human life based on how many eclipses you've seen is it's just ridiculous. As this is going on, I'm trying to think of the pros and cons of like going to see the eclipse and trying to push up the cons as much as possible to make myself feel better. You know, one of them is, oh, it was probably super crowded next to all the roads where they're viewing the eclipse. And you know, if I don't go, not only like do I avoid the crowds, but all the other people seeing the eclipse, they are benefiting by having one fewer people there. So I'm actually like doing a service for my community, which is a stupid thought, right? And also, we already had, you know, a place to sleep for those nights that wasn't crowded, and we already had the plane tickets too, which I couldn't get a refund for, so it's not like I'm saving any money by not going. I was thinking about the pros and cons, and another one was like all the YouTubers who filmed the eclipse and all the news articles are saying this is a life-changing experience, once in a lifetime, you have to go. And I know every article is kind of doing that to encourage people to go, but at the same time it's making like me as a person who didn't go feel really bad for not going. So like I have to remind myself all those words are being said through a filter that's like trying to hype everything up. So like I asked Michael how the eclipse was, and you know, I feel like Michael and I have pretty similar personalities, so if I want the closest reflection of how I would act, I should ask him. And he said like, you know, it was pretty interesting but not a life-changing experience. It looked like the exposure of a camera was going down as the percentage of sunlight decreased, and I feel like that's a very similar response to what I would have, because it's overly scientific and not sentimental. So I was like really glad to hear that. Like it almost feels weird to say I was glad to hear that it was not as exciting as it should have been. So like I'm glad, you know, thank you Michael for saying that. It's weird that that made me feel better, but it didn't fix it. I don't know, this is an issue that never gets solved. So I guess I'll just leave this video as kind of a reminder to myself in 2 years or 7 years, depending on circumstances, that future Carrie, you have to go see the solar eclipse. I mean, it's not just to avoid the regret, but it's just to have a more exciting life. You know, to go places you wouldn't normally go, to see things you wouldn't normally see, and to make it so that at the end of your lifespan, like whenever you're on your deathbed, you can say like, I did all these crazy things and Sure, they didn't really amount to anything of monetary value, but like I saw the world and I took in everything it had to offer. So I think that's it for this video. It felt really nice just to get it off my chest, kind of like a catharsis of sorts. But perhaps another redeeming factor, I don't know, would be like if I thought that video was worth it. So the video is like trying to show how quickly Despacito got views. And I'm not really sure, like, cause Abba Kappa videos, I kind of just, at this point, I make one if I feel like it, and then it's up, but it doesn't like kind of continue to a series or build anything. Each one is kind of its own separate product. So like the world could have done without it, to be honest. But I'll just say, like, to the friend that I was gonna visit in Illinois, I wish I had gone. I hope you had a fun time. I hope this video didn't like ruin the moment of this eclipse, because like eclipses are fun. The final thing is, since this video is also kind of serving as an obligation to my future self to see the eclipse in South America in 2019 or 2020 or in Eastern United States in 2024, then like I'm talking to a version of myself that's further in the future than I've ever talked to before, right? A 27-year-old. I've always seen those conversations, like those videos that are conversations between, my 12-year-old self and my 32-year-old self, and I've always wanted to make them, and I should have done it earlier because the longer you delay, the less effect it really has. But I might as well do it now. So, like, hello, 27-year-old Carrie. I'm 20 right now. I wonder how much we have in common, like how much has really changed. Have you figured out how to be more emotionally stable and not fall into these spirals of regret all the time? I guess that's like not a good starting question, so maybe I'll start with something a little more tame. I've always dreamed of having a stable sleep schedule that's earlier than most people, because then I feel more disciplined. Like going to bed at 11 and waking up at 7, that's pretty cool. I know it doesn't take much work to do that really, but I've struggled with it for a long time. Like I always like slip into going to bed at 3 like you did last night and waking up at 11. So how's it going now? Have you become the most disciplined, well-scheduled person out there? Oh my god, I'm so bad at talking, but I promise not to edit this because it's got to be a true reflection of what I'm like now. Have you gotten over your awkwardness of talking to new people? I don't think that really goes away because I think I've stayed about constant since I was about like 13 or 14 in how well I can speak. But like you could see, like just in that last question, it's still pretty difficult for me. What other things? How has physical exercise been in your life? Because I feel like for me now, like as soon as I got out of PE, or physical education, in 10th grade, it's been like on and off because I've never been into sports, and like, I can get, I don't think feeling physically exhausted is a turnoff for me. Like I actually like the feeling of having done a lot of work at the end of the day. So it's not that. I guess it's just getting started. Everyone says getting started is the hard part, but yeah, for me, like, yeah, getting started is hard. But like I'll go maybe like 2 or 3 weeks where I get really passionate about doing something. Like right now I'm trying to run every day. I've been doing it for about 2 weeks, and I'm really happy with myself that I can push myself to do that. But I peter out pretty quickly. Like I remember I had a kind of spell like that in November of 2012, but that only lasted a month. So yeah, have you gotten into a stage where you can consistently for years on end stay physically active? Because I think that's very important and helps boost your self-esteem and confidence and all that. I guess there's like a few secrets I want to ask that I don't want the public to know about, so maybe I'll do that in a unlisted video or something. Let me think of what else there could be that I could talk about. Are you still doing YouTube? I mean, I've been doing it for 9 years, so if you are still doing it, you've been doing it for 16. Like that's not too much of a difference, right? You might as well keep it up if you've put this much time into it. Wow. I realize writing a script for a video makes these things way easier. Oh, I have a question. Are you still affiliated with Stanford at all? Because right now, I don't know what I'm gonna do with the Stanford education. Like, part of me wants to stick around even after I graduate to do, I don't know, like research or like work with other professors, just because I want to formally advance human knowledge in some way. Like, I'm trying to teach people artificial intelligence right now through YouTube, but it doesn't feel like formal or official. And I kind of want to do that. So like, did you get like a master's degree? Are you still at Stanford campus, or do you at least visit sometimes? Because, I'm not proud of many things, but I am proud to be a student there. And I hope you didn't just go in and out in 4 years like you were afraid you would when it first started. Like my dad told me, like he realized the 4 years was up in the blink of an eye, and he wished he had made more value of his time there. So hopefully you do the same. Oh, also because you still use your Stanford email to sign up onto so many websites, and that email gets deleted after the 4 years, which is going to be super inconvenient. So if you can find any way to keep it around, that would be nice. Except I heard like they let you redirect to a different email so that that Stanford email still works. However, I don't want to even deal with any of that. It would just be nice to keep that email forever. This is such a like trivial topic for a video like this. What else? Oh, I can see I have 7 minutes recorded for this clip, and there's only enough space on my iPhone for 15 minutes, so I only have 8 minutes left. Oh, I could ask about like technology because it's like 7 years later. Do you still use iPhones? Do you still encounter this problem where your 16 gigabyte iPhone can only record like 20 minutes at a time before you have to plug it into your computer, move the file over, delete it from your phone, and start recording again? That seems like something you shouldn't have to deal with in 2024, or 2020 if you're seeing an earlier eclipse. I'll say 2024, just to keep things simple. You're 27 years old. Yeah, like, is Apple still one of the biggest companies, or has it fallen from grace? And is there a new competitor taking over the market of smartphones? Or are smartphones even still a thing? It's just crazy how much can happen by 2024, because I'm thinking, Trump just became president 8 months ago. It's crazy because 2024 isn't the next presidential election, but the one after that. So like if Kanye West does decide to run for president in 2020 and wins by some weird miracle, or not miracle, but like, quirk, which could happen because like now, no one knows any rules of politics. It won't be when he becomes president, but when he leaves. I'm saying this as if I'm assuming it's gonna happen. But yeah, like 2024, I'm saying this like again and again, but it's just ridiculous how far away that is. Like, I think the average age to get married is like 26 or 27, so you might be married. What else could I talk about? Do you still solve Rubik's Cubes? Have you gotten any world records? Because as it stands now, I can never get like past maybe twice the world records, and like I just don't know how other people are physically able to get any faster. But like I noticed like I improve very slowly, but given 7 years, maybe a lot can change. Like, are people even still doing this, or like has it petered out again? Maybe with the invention of like more robots that can solve this even better, people lose interest. Kind of like how I think people lost interest in horse racing once cars took over. I mean, they didn't lose interest entirely, but the fact that people realize like, hey, we're doing this in a less efficient way than we could with better technology, I think discourages a lot of people from doing it. I hope that made sense. At least you're getting a sense of how coherent I am as a human when I was 20. Well, this is actually kind of fun. Like, I'm glad I'm doing it. Like I said, I've been wanting to do this since I was like 16, and I don't know why I never just did it. So this is like years of anticipation finally arriving all at once. Have you been to the southern hemisphere yet? Because I still haven't. Oh, I might go in a few weeks because I haven't decided if I want to go to VidCon Australia or not. Because, like, we bought tickets, so we already paid the money. But like flights to Australia for 2 people both ways are like $2,000 or $3,000, and that's just like a lot of money for one weekend. So I might go, I might not. But if I don't, I'm sure you somehow figured some way to get there, or some reason to be there in the last 7 years. Because like the Earth is a pretty cool place, and you should explore as many corners of it as you can. There was something else I was going to mention. I forget. It was related to traveling. Oh, I know. It wasn't related to traveling. It's more about the YouTube stuff. I want to know how Battle for Dream Island is doing. Do you even remember that phrase? Like, of course you do. Like, in no way could I ever imagine forgetting it, but like, are you still working on it? Like, or have you gone on a 7-year hiatus? Like, I want to know, it like has like 5, 6, 7 seasons passed already, and like this is a silly question because of course I still don't know what it is. But yeah, I'm just wondering, like, so much could happen in 7 years. It's actually pretty like symmetrical because BFDI started 7.5 years ago. So this is the midway point between when we first started and where you are now. So like, yeah, you can hear me talk and say like, hey, that's the 50% guy. That's cool. But I was also going to ask, what about 10 words of wisdom? I know that like 10 words of wisdom isn't your biggest achievement. I mean, like, I, as of right now, really enjoy it, and I think it has created the most active and excited community out there, even though it's not the largest. But what I was going to say is that you might not remember, but for about a year by this point, I guess it's kind of dying off by now, but for about a year, you had this passion that TWOW would somehow like take over the world. Okay, maybe I'm being a little too ambitious, but like you and your twin brother are planning on creating TWOW Zone as a website, right? And I might as well say it, like, we kind of hoped that once it was fully capable for like contestants, like all humans on Earth to become contestants by just signing up, like, you know, you start getting millions of contestants, because like if a single celebrity joins the game and like fans of the celebrity can realize, oh, I can play on a game on the same level playing field as this celebrity, I could actually beat them, then like all the fans are going to want to play too. So yeah, like you were really excited about that. I say that past tense for me too, because I think I was the most passionate about this in the summer of last year, and I would say like borderline delusional. Like, just saying those words out of my mouth, it does seem kind of delusional, and like I don't need TWOW to get that big. So I just want to say, like, you're a little more mature than that now, but I hope you at least still try, right? Because it would be a tragedy if 7 years from now TWOW is just a relic of the past. What else could I talk about? Oh, where are you living? I mean, I already asked the Stanford question, but like, this apartment, does it still exist? Are you still living in it somehow? And like, do you remember what your bedroom looked like? Well, I just moved in like 2 months ago, so it's pretty bare right now. But I was gonna I could show the rest of the apartment. We have these like balloon lights that are red, yellow, and blue, and they light up. But I don't want to get out of this room because the phone's plugged in, and also the 15 minutes is almost up. But maybe I'll do the whole transfer thing and record another 15 minutes because I actually enjoy this. I just thought of a lot of new questions. So I am going to go plug this into my computer. And Michael and I have only been here for about 2 months, but like, do you remember those? Those are the balloon lights. And I think this was the packaging for a mug that Michael ordered, and it looks like a Halloween mask when you turn the lights on, which you can do by flipping this switch. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's too bright. There's a good angle. And yeah, this is our apartment. And oh wait, there was one thing I wasn't supposed to show. This is the kitchen-y place, which isn't too interesting.
There's the microwave that used to shut off if it ever was running for more than a minute because it was like sharing too much power with all our other devices. So, yeah, that was inconvenient. I think we fixed it now though. And like, yay, dirty dishes. I don't know why I'm showing you all this. And then we've got, yeah, stuff here. I've started eating a lot of like canned food, which sounds kind of depressing, but it's so convenient to just like be able to open something, take the lid off, and then eat it with a spoon, because then you don't have any dirty dishes. And I say like it's efficient, not depressing, because like that gives me more time to work on videos and all that, because that is kind of my main employment, I guess. My main work right now is videos.
Okay, you may have realized that I didn't show you much of the apartment and I covered up some parts of the video too, and that's because there's two big secrets about my lifestyle right now that I don't want to tell the public yet, but like I might be able to, or I guess it's 3 secrets if I think about it. Yeah, 3. Anyway, so the other questions I thought of, like, you know, a few minutes ago were, how much do you eat? Or how much do you weigh? I know that like those are kind of weird questions, but right now I have this problem where like I don't eat unless I absolutely need to, or like I feel hungry, or when I'm working on a video, I'll prioritize finishing up the video over eating at a right time. So it's about 3 p.m. right now and I haven't had my first meal yet. So like I can feel my stomach starting to gurgle. And like I am like kind of anorexic. You can see like how thin my arms are. Like I hope you fix that, because I don't like looking this thin. And also like I wonder, even when no one is forcing you to eat at certain times, do you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Or are you kind of like me now, where there is no such thing as distinct meals? It's just like, eat something when you feel hungry, don't eat when you don't feel hungry. Oh, it's like 4 p.m., like, which isn't lunch or dinner? Well, I'll just eat anyway. Like, how is that? I kind of admire a structured life, kind of like what I mentioned about the sleep schedule. So I kind of hope that you do have breakfast, lunch, and dinner at around the same time every day, but like, kind of knowing how we act, I don't think that's how it's happening now. Yeah. Let's see, what else is there? Are you still doing the photo of the day project, where you go like this in every photo? You used to have a sheet of paper that you would hold up and you wrote the date, your age, and the news event and a personal event on a sheet of paper every day, and you took a photo of that for almost 3 years. I hope you're still doing that, because, well, at that point it would be 10 years. Right now it's been a little over 3, because it's really nice to know that every day of your life is documented somehow, which also includes the journal, which I assume you're still keeping up. Wow. Gosh. Can't imagine 10 years of journal entries, 10 years of photos. Someday I gotta upload that. What else is there to talk about? Oh, like, since you're 27, do you dress any differently? Because right now all I wear are t-shirts and these shorts. Ugh, I'll just point the camera down. What am I talking about? Like, I don't even care about this stuff. Well, I say I don't care, but I think it's just because I find the act of shopping to be kind of shameful for me, because like if I'm on my own as like just one person, like it looks like I'm kind of a loser, so I don't do it. But I can imagine if I looked a little nicer, I'd feel better about myself and have more confidence. But as a 20-year-old, I think I can get away with still looking like a high school student. But if you're 27, how's that going? Like, do you have to present yourself more adult-like? You can see my choice of words is not so good, but you know what I mean. Wow, this might be like the most revealing video I've ever made. Like, these facets of my life I don't talk about, but I feel like they're pretty conventional, right? Like, some of the things I'm saying you've heard countless people say before, so you shouldn't be too shocked. Oh, I think this is a cool achievement. I haven't gotten sick with a cold since last school year, so like I think May of 2016. Like all through, I guess, sophomore year of college, I didn't get sick, and I don't know why, because like I interacted with a lot of other humans who could be spreading diseases, ew. But it just didn't happen. So like I wonder, There's no way you went 7 years without catching a cold, but like, does it happen less frequently when you're an adult? Because there were certain times in high school when I was getting sick every 2 months. Like, I even had to write down every time I was starting to get sick again because this was a concern. And we told the doctor, it's like, what's going on? But that's just kind of what happens when you deal with it, when you're around hundreds of germy kids all the time. What else is there? Oh, one thing I'm really passionate about now is AI generated music, but I'm not very good at it because I don't have a formal education in AI, and I'm just kind of experimenting, trying to scrape any code online that I can. How did that go? I have a feeling you're not working on it anymore because, you know, all my projects come and go. It's been 7 years beyond, like, you at this point, or whatever. So, like, did it become a success or not? This might be a weird question. It would like be asking me, how did that Stagecast game go? Did it succeed or fail? Like, to me, it's not even relevant because it's so far in the past. But the AI music is relevant to me now. So that's why I'm asking the question. I hope you keep it up. I think there's a lot of potential there, and like, I love music now. I bet you still love music. I hope you get back into playing actual instruments. I stopped playing piano and violin after I left high school because I didn't take piano lessons and I was no longer in an orchestra. But there's something special about playing music with other people because it builds camaraderie and you get to go places together. And you wanted to try joining the Stanford Symphony Orchestra, but I'm saying this in like second person. It's really me. I want to join it, but I know I don't have the time to practice for auditioning or the pieces. And I also get really nervous from auditions. Like, I don't know if it's worth the effort because it would literally make my insides feel like they're turning, like, you know, they're turning upside down just because I get so nervous. I think I'm better at handling it now. Like, in middle school, it was awful. And in high school, I got a little over it because I kind of realized that even if I was lowest chair, I could still be friends with all those people. It's not like everyone was frowning upon me and spitting on me when I entered the door. So I'm not such a nervous wreck anymore. But I still don't know if it's worth it because it's all voluntary at this point. Like, once you're in college, nothing is really mandatory. Yeah. So I hope music is still a big part of your life. I also, me personally now, want to get more into producing music digitally because right now I've got Reason and I want to try learning FL Studio, and I feel like, you know, I have all these musical ideas in my head and I just can't write them down easily now. I mean, I can do some stuff, like you can see my like Bending Lasers music video, but like, it's nothing, and I know how much work it takes to reach an expert level of the skill, just like any other skill. So I want to try that, because to be honest, music might be the one art form that can always lift my spirits when I'm feeling down. Like, there's something so visceral and like animalistic about how music sounds that it just makes you feel better. I feel like looking at a painting doesn't do it for me. Looking at writing or text on a screen or even a book like this one does not change my emotional state, especially if I'm feeling really, really down. But music somehow does. It can also make me feel really melancholic, is that a word? Or like super pumped up for the battle or something, or like, you know what I mean. Like, music is just magical. It's honestly from another dimension. So don't give that up. I really hope it's still a big part of your life. Okay, I'm just gonna go on really specific questions now, but like, what about like eye surgery? Because like right now you wear glasses when you're lazy, or contact lenses when you're a little less lazy. But did you get like LASIK eye surgery? Because right now I'm a little like iffy if I want to take that risk, because I've heard, like, even though it is 99.9% of the time successful, like, people still sometimes get like, I think, like flashing halos in their vision for a few months afterward, and that just scares me because I feel like vision is so important to how I see the world. And like when I think of my vision as like a computer screen with pixels, I would hate to have hundreds of malfunctioning pixels. So I might stick with contacts and glasses for the rest of my life. But yeah, I could ask you, like, how's that? Are you doing that for the rest of your life? We'll see. Wow, this is gonna be like an hour-long video if I keep going on at it. How many high school friends are you still in contact with? Because you, or should I say like you do this or I do this? I think it would be clearer if I say I do this. I always mean to talk to more of them, but I never know how to start the conversation without seeming like desperate or worrying them that I am in like a marketing scheme to get them to buy a product, right? So right now I think I'm in close communication with maybe only 3. Like I'm just thinking about friends that, like the first friends I would tell if something big happened in my life. And most of them are from college, which is weird because I've only known those people for like a year or maybe 2 years max. But that might just be because it's the people I'm kind of like obligated to hang around the most because I am currently in college. Well, you know, the 4-year period I'm in college. Right now I'm down in LA because it's summer break, but you know what I mean. So I just wonder like how long do these friendships really last? And now that you're technically out of your 4-year college plan, is there anything forcing you to stay close to friends? Because I get worried about that sometimes with no like obligatory meetings where you all come together. Do you have to force every single interaction? Like do you have to always request it to happen? Or do you somehow like find something else? I guess there's always like clubs and stuff that don't require you to even be a student, but I don't know. It's kind of a little terrifying to think that once I hit 22, you know, education, which has been the like keystone of my entire life since as long as I can remember, is gone unless I choose it not to be, which I said I might want it to. So yeah. I hope you have more friends when you're 27 instead of fewer. Oh, speaking of friends, how are your interactions with like other YouTubers? Because I think the whole mantra of this summer for me has been meet more YouTubers because you moved to LA to meet more of them. Like, are you known in the YouTube sphere? Because right now you're not really. You're kind of like in your own bubble. I think that we're doing pretty well, but in our own bubble. And I don't know if this comes out of my vanity or arrogance, but I want other people to notice me. I want other people to talk about me, just so that like I can, you know, respond to them and like talk to them. So have you achieved that in 7 years? Because that would be the dream, I think. Yeah. I mean, YouTube might not even be around in 7 years. I think within 7 years, that's like a whole lifespan of a website. Something could like come into fashion and out of fashion so quickly that it's irrelevant now and it's irrelevant in 2024. Like just think of Vine. Vine must be like archaic at this point. Like you probably don't even know what that word means. Oh, this is being recorded after, but I want to ask this too. Right now you have this problem where you're very indecisive about making any big change to your life, and you always like ask other people if it's okay to do this, or like do I have permission to do this. I hope you are a much more headstrong person, and if you want to do something, you just do it. Did someone come to the door? Oh. Yeah. Hey, it's much later in the day now, but there was something I remembered I wanted to add. I wanted to ask you, how are your cats Good and Better doing? Because, let's see, doing math, they should be 12 and 9 years old by that point. Right now, Good is just about to turn 6, and Better is 2.5. So, wow. Yeah, they're gonna be a lot older, but I mean, I think cats' lifespans are like 15 to 20 years, especially if they're indoor cats, so they should still be alive, but wow, Good is getting old so fast, and it makes me sad. By the way, to those people who don't know, their official names are Jin Jin and Hui Hui, so we don't get accused for animal abuse, but we call them good and better. And also they have got like original names from their original owners, which are Stripey and Emmy, but I don't use those names anymore. So yeah, cats. And then the second thing is like, what about family members, right? How is your like relationship with your family? Because 7 years later, that's a long time, and it's pretty tragic. But I'm just thinking, I can count around 9 or 10 people who are older than 65 right now, and I mean I could do the actual math, but I'm not going to. But I just feel like there's a good chance one of them might pass away. I guess that's just a fact of life. Yeah, I wonder if that happens by 2024. Okay, I don't want to leave it on such a grim question. So there's a third one. Oh, I remember. It's like, what about like acne on my skin? You can see right now, it's like not so good. I actually think like there have been worse days. So you're actually seeing like a pretty good day for me. But I think what's going on is like a lot of these are scars. So I actually don't have that many, pimples today. I don't like talking about this. Don't have that many pimples, but like this is just like healing from pimples of the past. So I really hope that at some age I'll reach to the point where I no longer have like enough teenager hormones to cause all these breakouts. And I just imagine that like if you're still dealing with this problem by 27, I'll be sad, because I always thought that this was just an issue I'd only have to deal with during my teenage years, and right now this is just kind of like the epilogue of that, and it's gonna end pretty soon. A lot of people have been recommending I take Accutane, and that's hurtful, but I don't know. I don't think I don't think this issue matters enough to me for me to actually like put more like medications into my body, because I think that just causes complications. But we'll see. I'll ask a doctor or whatever. Yeah, like it's cool. You probably know the whole story because you're a future me and you know how everything turned out. It probably turned out fine. Like I have faith in you. I think you'll make the right decisions. So this is the end of this section. It's not the end of the whole video though, so I'll get back to past me, which is like 3 hours ago for me, but it's 7 years ago for you. Whoosh. Oh, by the way, this is solely here to remind you of what was popular at the time. It's not that I like these things. It's just that, again, I want to archive everything that is, that describes what 2017 was like. I can't think of the right word. Like the epitome of 2017 is this video. This t-shirt's from 2016, by the way. Oh, if you don't remember where it's from, it's because Wikia, which is a website that lets fans create wikis for their favorite shows or comic strips or books or whatever. Actually, no, Wikia kind of lets you create wikis on whatever you want, so it's more general than that, Yeah, so anyway, Wikia hosted this thing called Battle of the Fantasy Foods, where foods from TV shows competed in this tournament bracket, and whichever food got more votes from the general public moved on to the next round, and there's 64 total, and Battle for Dream Island's Yoil Cake was one of the nominees. So through 5 rounds, we kept like urging our fans to vote for Yoil Cake so that we'd beat the opponents, and we won the whole thing. So like we defeated like Pokemon Go's Milk or something, I forget what Pokemon's thing is, and also like Gravity Falls Pit Cola and Steven Universe's Breakfast Food or something. I can't remember who was number 2, but anyway, the reason I bring this all up is because like, yeah, that's where this t-shirt's from. They were selling Yoil Cake at New York Comic Con, and we went there just to see the Yoil Cake, but we also got this t-shirt too. So just trying to give you the background of why 2017 looks the way it does. I'm gonna put this down because for some reason this elicits a lot of hate from commenters, even though, again, it's just an archive. Like honestly, it's like hating a dictionary for having the word dab in it. Like dictionaries are just there to tell you what's going on, not to make a statement. Yeah, so I feel like this is like a silver lining to missing the eclipse. It's kind of like a blessing in disguise almost, because I'm having so much fun doing this that like I'm thinking to myself, I probably wouldn't do this if I had seen the eclipse, so maybe this is a good thing after all. And to be honest, I feel so much better about making bad decisions if just one good thing came out of it, and I can reason with myself, oh, an omnipotent being who had the goal of achieving this one good thing would have chosen the same thing as me. So I don't have any regrets for not knowing things because someone who did know everything would have followed the same path. That's a weird line of reasoning, I think, but that's sometimes how my brain works. Yeah, so I think I've gone through like 10 or 20 different topics and questions, but I think it's good to have the widest array of like facets of life for you to remember. So yeah, that's cool. I know how I'm gonna end this video, but I don't feel like it's time to end it yet, just because I really am having fun with this. I just have this like feeling that I'm gonna forget a really big question that I really wanted to ask, and then I won't really have a second chance. I mean, I could like make this a yearly thing, like always ask myself 7 years in the future, how are things going? And then like I can just, you know, put the question I forgot in my 21-year-old version. But I do want to just ask everything that I want to ask right now, and I can't think of anything else. Okay, I guess I'll just leave it at that. You heard a lot about my life right now, and I want to hear about yours. So, to finish it off, I just want to say, remember what the point of this video was. I want you to see that solar eclipse in 2024. You might have seen the ones in 2019 and 2020, but they might have been more difficult because they're in different continents. So if you haven't, that's okay. You have an excuse. But 2024, no excuse. It's in the United States. You have to do it. For no other reason, do it for me. Do it for your past self. I know that nostalgia always makes the past look better. You have rose-tinted glasses. And hopefully that happens now, because that would make you really want to see that eclipse. So yeah, see you in 7 years, Carrie. Carrie Kai-Ming Huang, Carrie KH, Carrie Kill Hitler. All of those people, I hope they're still around. So, have a fun life.